At the beginning of September, you were bottom of the Premier League, only 3 games in. But the improvement has been huge. You must be really pleased with the way that they've approached this season so far and feel that they deserve that reward.
Yes, first of all, because we have an excellent group of people at the club that believes in what we are trying to do, that we are very much aligned. And then it's about time and work and belief in what you do. And then you have to put performance into result, which in football is not always the case. But in the last few months, we've been much more consistent.
The disappointment of conceding from a corner is something you've experienced probably too many times this season. I think it's a dozen now or something I read that you've conceded from corners. That's too many, obviously.
Yeah, it's way too many. You've got to have more commitment to keep the ball out of your goal. It's as simple as that.
We're getting better and better, and we get to know each other better every week, and we work so hard on the training pitch, and I think you can see that in the games now. We understand each other better, and I think everyone knows where the other ones want to get the ball, and the understanding is brilliant. So I think we're improving a lot.
Well, it's going well, isn't it? Look at that! Look at that! Big grin.
So, Chappers, it was a very mature, confident performance from such a young team. There's a calmness around the club, and I think that Odegaard and the way he plays is one of the main reasons for that. For me, the playmaker is back. The number 10, the way he's playing. The way he gets into the positions where he gets into, and then it's the calmness. Like I say, he doesn't rush. It's a beautiful position. He's got just a little scoop. Martinelli should score that, to be honest. Just a bit more composure from Martinelli. He's in. And once he gets in here, he's already seen that Saka's out there because he's somebody that sees the picture before. He's always looking. This is what you want. This is what you want from a midfielder. Somebody's not going to just go sideways, bam. All of a sudden, Lacazette gets half yard, he has a shot. That's what he can start doing now because he's got the ability from 25 yards, maybe because he's made the pass like that. Again, he comes back, sorts it out, and then Arsenal are on the break. This is what we wanted. This is what we wanted from Ozil. This is what the kind of play. This is nice play, what he does here. Easy, simple movement, just passing and watching between the two Leicester players. Bang, simple. That's what I'm saying. When you got players like young players watching a player like that who's got this kind of ability, don't get yourself in that physicality. But he just kind of stays on the periphery of everything and just keeps everything very simple. Look, again, bam, loads of space around him, and Arsenal are away again. This is beautiful. Watch this. That's the confidence. The confidence is flowing through him. Him and Partey in there is nice. Look at him. He's lending, moving, and then again a lovely pass in there. It was so good to watch. And the thing with him is that he's incisive, Chappers, without being too Hollywood. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Intelligent.
I can't lie, I got that from Chappers. Chappers told me that earlier on.
Too humble.
Exactly. But then you look at his numbers. That is what you want from your creative midfield player, and that's what we're getting off of him at the moment. So happy.
That's what you want. That's what you were saying as well when we're having this discussion. You want those 15-yard fizzers.
Progressive passing, game intelligence, great decision-making. But the one thing about him is the work rate as well. Distance covered. He's got that Scandinavian work ethic. You get that from it. But he is getting better and better and better.
What else about the Arsenal setup impressed you?
Well, I think Arteta deserves great credit for sticking with his system and his philosophy. I think they've got some great relationships in the team now. If you look in the middle of the pitch, you look at the centre-halves, the two wide boys now. There's so much good about this side. But there was one passage of play that I'm going to show you that showed you, look, this is the way they set up. This epitomises Arsenal at the moment. You've got your nice and balanced, good on the ball. There's your three, Odegaard ahead of the two midfielders, and your front three with the centre-forward dropping in and linking up play. They did this so many times today. Nice and courageous, great width. You've got your full-backs bombing on when the time is right, which is always important, making the decisions. You've got your three forward men in goal-scoring positions, which is worked upon. That's no accident. And then three midfielders supporting the box. And time again, if you go through this game and the last couple of months, you will see the same things happening again and again. It's terrific to watch. They are growing into a really good side. There is a lack of strength and depth when they have a few injuries, of course. That's been talked about. But he deserves great credit, Arteta.
And alongside the tactics, he set, what management speak is he set the culture as well.
Yes, and you know what's great about the club at the moment, Chappers, of everything what he's had to do, people he's had to get out, people he's tried to bring in. We've got a very young management team. He's young, you know, Vinay's young, Mertesack's young, Edu's young. They're learning on the fly. Great recruitment, but he's stopped the noise around the place. Everybody's quite excited about the 4th. I still said 6 for us. I'd be happy if we could do that. But we're in a great position. He's stopped the noise inside the club and outside the club. And now everybody's just playing and focusing on what they're doing. And it's looking good at the moment, fingers crossed.
Don't forget, though, everybody's young to you, right?
Yeah, it's You're so funny, Dan.
Steve asked Brendan Rodgers about the corners situation. They've had problems all season on corners. I mean, they had problems with Arsenal in the home game with the near post corner, and it did them again.
Yeah, well, their defending on set plays has been woeful this season, and Brendan, he's baffled by it. They're obviously working on it, but they got done in the fixture at Leicester, didn't they? Luke Thomas on that near post, ball in that area, which Arsenal, like Gabriel, makes that ball his own. There, it's a good header. And you'd think you'd learn, you're playing against the same team, they like to put the ball in that area. Again, it's Thomas trying to get that into that near post zone. He runs into it this time, but he overjudges it. He goes too far, and Partey scores a great header that sets them up to dominate a lot of the game. And they've got problems with set plays, Leicester. It just seems to keep happening.
Because when we spoke before the game, you said you were looking for improvement. 2 clear goals this time and a clean sheet. So was that improvement that you clearly got a result of a better performance?
Absolutely. I think without a performance, you don't beat Leicester. I think they are a really good side. They make it tough for us, and we have to raise the level of that way we showed against Watford. And I think we certainly done it today in every aspect of the game, I think, and it's a big win for us.
Did you have to dig deep, though? Because midway through the first half, Leicester got a good foothold in the game.
Yeah, they got a bit of control of the game, and we suffered a little bit in certain situations without conceding a lot of chances. One chance that I can remember, we didn't manage against very good. We lost a little bit of control. We could not take the game to the final third. And in the second half, I think it was much better again and much more controlled.
When it went to VAR, you looked as though you were fairly certain it was a penalty. Was that always the case?
Yes, because I nominated one person in that bench to ask him that I think he can be cool and a cool head, and he said it's definitely a pen. So I was expecting to get it.
Much to admire about your side today. What did you in particular like?
The understanding of what we had to do during the game. When they were more flat and the spaces we have to attack, when they started to be more aggressive, when they started to overload certain areas on the pitch, especially in the final third, how we have to resolve that, especially the understanding and obviously the execution. We had moments where the speed of the ball, the understanding, the movement, the link between the players, it was terrific.
You've said to us every time we ask about Champions League football, game by game, game by game. Is that because you don't want to put pressure on your players?
No, it's because it's the reality in football. Because if you start to make prediction of what it can happen, I think no one in this room would get it right, probably. So the only thing we can control is performances and the next game, and that's what we are focused with.
But what sort of position have you put yourselves in to finish very high up the table?
Yeah, very good position, but there is still a lot to fight for. And now it's Liverpool, and we know how tough it's going to be, and we have to prepare the game to win it.
You've got a very young side. Do they play with a fluidity and a freedom that brings you particular joy?
I hope they do, because they do what they love in their life, so they have to play with that freedom, with that passion, with that fluidity, because if not, they have to do something else. So we always encourage them to play like this.
It looks as though, because they're all very, very young, or certainly the majority, there's a real camaraderie there.
There is. You can sense it, you can feel it. They're really having a good time together, and I think that transmits on the pitch.
Lastly, hasn't scored in the last 9, but he's been doing tremendous work elsewhere. But are you pleased that Lacazette was on the score sheet today?
Absolutely, and he deserves it again for the work he does, understanding how much he helped us in many different areas. But today he's done scoring a good goal again.
Premier League games this season where they were in the bottom 3 seem a long time ago for Arsenal. Is that just a show of patience and support for a manager and what he can do over a period of time?
Yeah, that first game, Brentford, wasn't it? There were a few panic signs, without a doubt. The way they conceded the goals, their performance was really poor. But he deserves a lot of credit, Arteta, because he's been able to manage the way he wants. He's been able to make decisions that he has wanted, and it's been tough at times. He's had to leave players out, difficult players, for different reasons. But I think what has helped him more than most is having that young squad, the ability of those young players to put them in on the first team stage and trust them and say, go and play, go and enjoy your football, go and, if you have to make mistakes, that's fine, but just go and express yourselves. And I think he made that point really clearly there, as I have to say they've got a good group now who he can trust. He believes in them all. He's been able to get rid of players who we wanted to get out of the football club for obvious reasons, and I think that has enhanced the ability and certainly enhanced the attitude in that squad.
And when a manager goes and puts his head on the pillow at night, how important is that word trust? That you've got players you think, I'm good with those now, I'm all right with them.
That's a great feeling, but I think now, it's the other way round as well. I think now the players trust the manager. They're buying into what he wants, because he was under the cosh early doors, wasn't he? He was under pressure, as they say, for a few weeks. You lost, and then it was somebody else the week after. That's how it is in management. But no, he's steadied the ship. He's got them playing with that free-flowing football. They're a young group of players. Now, I think they're good players. They're good young players that will be tested against Liverpool in the week, for instance. Then we'll see, when they get tested with the bigger teams, whether they can cope being young and a little bit inexperienced. Those players, those good players, can become very good players. And eventually, are they going to be great players? That's where Arsenal are at the moment. The potential is there. It's there, it's in touching distance. Whether they can guide, you can guide them through, whether they can stay a little bit injury-free, because look at Leicester today, we've just gone through all the injuries they've had. I think if they lost a centre-back, that might give them a problem, and I think if they lose a striker, it'll give them a problem. So there's a lot of permutations that have got to happen with Arsenal, but they've got the potential there to go on the stepping stone to go into a really strong team.
He made a huge call with the Aubameyang situation, getting him out of the football club, and that decision had to work because people would be ready to pile in on that decision because of the way Aubameyang's gone to Barcelona, scored goals. So that decision had to work. So at the minute, it's worked. The bigger picture will be, can they get that fourth position come the end of the season?
Yeah, not too many, just to round up on this one, would have predicted Arsenal winning 9 of 11 without Aubameyang at the time.
No, I don't think so. But as you say, in hindsight, everything looks great. The group is happy. All that you can see that when they celebrate a goal, or the way they communicate with each other. And just today, it just was a joy to watch. I think that the way he set them up, they obviously executed it. He said in his interview afterwards that's what pleased him the most, that they understood what he was asking of them and then went and executed it. So Lacazette's playing well. Obviously, he hasn't scored for before today for a while, but I think he's integral to what they're trying to do with the high wingers and him dropping into the 10 position. So at the minute, it looks like it was a good decision. Next season going forward, we'll see where they end up at the end of the season. They might need something else up top. If they're going to make Champions League and then try and battle on a few fronts.
Indeed.
They concede so many goals from set pieces. They look really unorganised. Thomas there on the first goal and Sonchu was, they've got to be doing better, regardless of whether it's zonal marking or not. Brendan Rodgers must be so frustrated, because these are the types of things they work on in training.
I don't think Brendan does the actual set plays. That's the irony of it.
It's a set piece coach.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, but whoever's in charge of that, it's just not good enough.
Yeah.
And Leicester went from potentially being a European qualifier again this season to mid-table obscurity.
Yeah, 15 points worse off when they were at this stage last season, our Leicester. But as for Arsenal, it's 5 wins in a row. And what a big win it was for Arsenal today, because, of course, the 3 points puts them back into 4th in the Premier League table. They've got 3 games in hand. Now, looking at this top 4 race, do they look like the most likely to end the season in that place, do you think, David?
Well, Seema, the best way to look at this, if you're an Arsenal fan saying we've got some tough games coming up, they could lose 3 tough games and still be in 4th place. That's a good position to be in.
What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. I agree with David. I think it's all based upon consistency. I think Tottenham, Manchester United and West Ham seem to lack that, and Arsenal seem to be thriving, especially with their young players. I mean, Smith Rowe was on the bench today and they still did a good job. So, yeah, it seems like it's Arsenal's position to lose, but I'm sure Arsenal fans are still not completely sure they'll get it across the line, even though we think now when it's your team, you're almost a little bit, nervous because they've missed out on the top 4 for so many years now.
Yeah, and I think at one point we were all talking about who wants top 4. Nobody seems to want it, but they do because they're playing with so much confidence now.
They are. I mean, it's interesting you say that because they're in and out of the top 4, obviously because of the results. And I think now that they've got that position, it'll be interesting to see now that they've got the pressure of actually holding the position rather than chasing it, whether they can do it. But
they need to beat the top teams, though. Yes. That's the only question about Arsenal. They've still got Manchester United to play. And when
Liverpool
they play against Liverpool, and when they play against those top teams, the Arsenal fans I know, because my dad's an Arsenal fan, that they get so frustrated in those situations because they seem to lose against the top teams.
But he must be happy at the moment.
Yeah, he's very happy.
Good. All right. Time for a break, after which will be